In 2003, Nintendo made an announcement that a new Zelda game was underway for the GameCube by the same development team behind the Wind Waker, and initially it looked set for a new Wind Waker 2 title to be released. However, under fears of the North American gaming market not taking to the game as they didn't do with the first Wind Waker, Nintendo America advised Eiji and Nomura that another title done in the same graphical style wouldn't go down that well with the audience, seeing as it was being aimed at children. With this in mind, he took his concerns to Miyamoto, who in turn gave the thumbs up for him to start creating a more realistic looking game, but telling him he must also introduce newer gameplay elements rather than just a new graphical style at the same time. Miyamoto's advice was aimed at getting the team to do what couldn't be done during Ocarina of Time, which was horseback combat, and 4 months later his team had managed to present fully realistic horseback riding. As time went on and the game got a release date of 2005, it was then no longer set to be a sequel to The Wind Waker. The reason for this was explained by Miyamoto as changing due to demand from fans. He also stated that it fit the idea of having an older Link in the story, and the game ran on a modified version of the Wind Waker engine. Eventually, Aonuma left his team to develop the Minish Cap, and upon its completion returned to find his team was struggling, as they were finding it difficult to implement Link's ability to turn into a wolf during the game and making it believable to fans. He also felt the game didn't have the innovation that Phantom Hourglass for the Nintendo Dual Screen or DS had, which was being made at the same time and made heavy use of the touchscreen. At this point, the Wii was being developed under the codename Revolution, and Miyamoto found that the new device's pointing interface would work very well with the bow and arrow used by Link. After much development, the game was created on both the Wii and also the GameCube around the world for both consoles in late 2006. The story focused on Link, who tries to prevent Hyrule from being engulfed by a corrupted parallel dimension known as the Twilight Realm. To do so, he takes the form of both a human and a wolf, and is helped by a mysterious creature named Midna. The game takes place approximately 100 years after Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, in an alternate timeline from the Wind Waker. The two different versions differ in minor ways. For example, the GameCube version featured L targeting, whilst the Wii version used Z targeting, a system used to keep Link's focus on his target enemy or an important object. Controls were also different. Obviously the Wii made use of its motion sensors and built-in speaker in its remote. This speaker would make sounds such as Midna's laugh when giving Link advice, and also it controlled the sound effects of Link's bow when drawn. The player controlled Link's attacks by swinging the controller, and the GameCube version was original in that it allowed you to look freely around the environment without having to use the Wii version's special look-around mode. As with other titles in the series, the game included 9 different dungeons, in which Link fights enemies collecting items and overcoming bosses at the end. A new improvement to the game was the introduction of the Twilight Realm, in which Link enters and is subsequently turned into a wolf, later being able to transform at will. In wolf form, Link is able to move much faster, attacking his enemies by biting. He can also dig holes to uncover items and also create passages. In this form he also carries the imp Midna, who uses a special energy field to attack foes and assists Link in jumping long distances and later teleports him to different world locations. Twilight Princess released to the world to huge fan base and reviewers' critical acclaim. It was also a commercial success for the company and scored top marks with many prominent companies and slightly under top marks from many others, with companies such as Game Trailer stating it was one of the greatest games ever created. Overall, the game is the best-selling Zelda title ever, having sold close to 6 million copies for the Wii as of 2011, and as of 2007 over 1.3 million for the GameCube. Twilight Princess was heavily praised for its art style on the world map, despite minor blurry textures appearing. Also praised was the game's atmosphere, being described as superior to previous Zelda titles. Also its use of the Wii remote for Link's sword attacks as being the most impressive in the franchise. The Twilight Princess would go on to win several awards, such as Best Artistic Design, Best Original Score, and Best Use of Sound from IGN for its Nintendo GameCube version. Both IGN and Nintendo Power gave Twilight Princess the awards for Best Graphics and Best Story. It then went on to receive Game of the Year awards from Game Trailers, 1UP.com, Electric Gaming Monthly, Game Informer, GameSpy, XPlay, and Nintendo Power. Released to Japan on June 23, 2007, and to the rest of the world in later October the same year, Nintendo unveiled their newest installment in the Zelda franchise, The Legend of Zelda: Phantom Hourglass, and it was the 14th game to be released and the first title to hit the company's Nintendo DS. The game took place in the same world that the Wind Waker did, with Link attempting to save his friend Tetra from the evil Bellum, with the help of the trusty Captain Limbeck and his ship. Gameplay elements were entirely new, using the DS's unique dual screen. During the game, on the top screen a map of the sea was shown, and on the bottom a 3D top-down perspective was played as Link travelled between islands with the use of his boat, and explored these islands on foot, gathering items and taking on enemies. The DS allowed the player to chart out a route in which Link would sail his boat, and if necessary make alterations to it. Whilst doing this, the map also would appear on both screens. Similar to this, when going up against a boss, the DS would portray the battle on both screens to give the player a much wider view of the battle. Phantom Hourglass also included a simple but fun multiplayer arena match, in which two players would go head to head, one playing as Link and the other would play in defense controlling 3 Phantom Guardians. The idea of the game is for the attacking Link to try and grab a Force Gem and return it to his base. It worked as a kind of capture the flag. Phantom Hourglass received huge praises all around, with reviews hailing the game's Wind Waker-like graphics, the touchscreen combat system and its brilliant puzzles. However, some criticism landed on what some saw as a short gaming session, lasting around 30 hours, and others felt that because the developers made it clear that they were aiming this title at casual gamers in an attempt to draw in more attention and sales than the disappointing Wind Waker gathered, that they had gone too far, making short dungeons and easy boss battles. Overall, however, the game was a massive success, and sold over 4 million copies worldwide as of March 2008. As a whole, Nintendo found 2004 to 2007 to be further successful years for the Zelda franchise. Tune in during the next episode to find out just how Nintendo were hard at work creating the fastest selling Zelda title of all time.